In the middle of the highest large lake on Earth, entire villages float. The ground beneath the people's feet is not rock, it is not soil. It is a thick, living mat of woven reeds bobbing gently on the cold, deep water. This isn't a temporary camp. It's a permanent home where generations have been born and raised on islands they built with their own hands. This incredible place is Lake Titicaca, a vast inland sea of sapphire blue water. It sits over 12,500 feet high in the Andes Mountains, straddling the border of Peru and Bolivia. The lake is so big, it creates its own winds, and its surface reflects the massive, empty sky. Up here, the world feels different. The air is thin and cold, biting at your lungs with every breath. But the sun is fierce and direct, a powerful force in this high-altitude world. It is a landscape of beautiful, harsh extremes, a place that demands respect and cleverness from anyone who dares to live there. The people who mastered this environment are the Uros. They are an ancient culture whose history on the lake began long before the rise of the powerful Inca Empire. They see themselves as the people of the water, belonging to the lake more than the land. Their choice to live on floating islands wasn't a strange hobby. It was a brilliant strategy for survival. When powerful groups like the Incas expanded across the land, conquering everyone in their path, the Uros simply retreated. They moved their homes out onto the water, where armies couldn't easily follow. The lake became their fortress, a safe haven that allowed them to escape conflict and control their own destiny. They didn't just find a place to hide, they created their own world, a floating kingdom built on independence and ingenuity. The secret to their entire civilization is a single, miraculous plant. It's called the totora reed. This tall, sturdy plant, a type of giant bulrush, grows in thick forests in the shallow parts of the lake. It is the one resource that makes everything else possible. The magic of the totora reed is hidden inside its stem. Each stalk is filled with tiny, hollow air pockets. This makes the reed incredibly buoyant. It floats naturally, like a collection of millions of tiny life vests all bundled together. But its purpose goes far beyond just floating. The Uros use this plant for almost everything. The white, tender base of the young reeds is a source of food, rich in iodine. They use it to build their homes and their iconic boats. It can even be used as a medicine to help with pain. Their entire world springs from this one humble plant. So, how do you turn a simple plant into a floating home? It starts not with the stalks, but with the roots. The entire process is a form of natural engineering, passed down through generations. It is a testament to human creativity. The first step is to create the foundation. Uros builders navigate their reed boats to the thickest parts of the reed beds. There, they cut out huge, dense blocks of the root system, called chelae. These root blocks are packed with soil and gases, making them incredibly buoyant. They are like natural, unsinkable pontoons. These massive blocks, sometimes 2 meters thick, are then floated into position. Workers on small boats rope them together, lashing them tightly to form a large, stable base. It's a slow, careful process, one that requires immense cooperation and a deep understanding of the lake's currents. Once the foundation is secure, the island's surface is built. Layers and layers of harvested totora reeds are laid on top, crisscrossing each other to create a strong, interlocking floor. They pile them high, creating a soft, springy ground that feels unlike anything on solid land. But here is the most incredible part. The islands are not permanent. They are living things, and they are constantly dying. The bottom layers, submerged in the cold lake water, are always rotting away. An island, if left alone, would simply dissolve back into the lake. To survive, the Uros must perform a never-ending task. Every few weeks, they add a fresh, new layer of dried reeds to the top surface of their island. It's a constant cycle of decay and renewal. They are literally living on top of their own compost pile, a floating garden that is also their home. This raises a critical question. If the island is floating, what stops it from simply drifting across the massive lake? What keeps an entire village from being blown away by the strong Andean winds? They expected to find a complex system, but the answer was brilliantly simple. The islands are anchored to the bottom of the lake. The Uros drive long, sharp stakes made of eucalyptus wood deep into the mud of the lakebed. Then they tie long ropes from the island to these underwater posts. This simple, powerful technique holds their entire world in place. Daily life unfolds on this floating platform. Their small, single-room houses are also built from reeds. The woven walls and thatched roofs provide shelter from the harsh sun and cold nights. Inside, life is simple, focused on family and community. Their primary livelihood comes directly from the lake. The men are skilled fishermen, heading out in their iconic boats to catch native species like trout and silverside. These boats, called balsas de totora, are also woven entirely from reeds, their high curved prows a symbol of their unique culture. Even the simple act of cooking a meal is tied to the lake. With no trees for firewood, the Uros use bundles of dried reeds as fuel for their small cooking fires. It's a world built entirely from one single humble plant. And this is where the true genius of the Uros people is revealed. It's not just that they build floating islands. They engineered a complete, self-sufficient world. Think about it. The totora reed is everything. It is the very ground beneath their feet. That same reed provides their shelter, woven into the walls and roofs of their homes. It is their transportation, bundled together to create the iconic boats that let them travel across the lake. The reed is their entire infrastructure, but it gets deeper. The soft, white base of a young reed is edible, a source of food rich in iodine that prevents diseases. And when dried, as we've seen, those same reeds become fuel for fire. Land, house, boat, food, and fuel, all from one plant. It is a perfect, closed-loop ecosystem. Today, however, a new element has entered their world: us. Tourism has become a vital part of the Uros economy. Visitors arrive on motorboats, bringing money that allows families to buy things they can't make, like solar panels for a single light bulb or modern clothing. This connection to the outside world is a delicate balance. It provides opportunity, but it also puts pressure on their ancient way of life. The challenge for the Uros today is to share their incredible culture without losing the very thing that makes it so unique. They must navigate the modern world while keeping their traditions alive. When you step back, their achievement is staggering. For more than 500 years, this community has thrived. On the mainland, great empires like the Inca rose and fell. Armies marched, cities were built, and borders were redrawn. Through all of it, the Uros remained independent and safe on their floating homeland. Their resilience wasn't based on stone walls or powerful armies. It was based on a deep understanding of their environment and an incredible idea: to build their own land and simply float away from their problems. This story challenges our most basic ideas of what a home is. We think of home as a fixed place, a piece of solid ground, a building with deep foundations. We think of nations as lines drawn on a map. The Uros prove that a home is something else entirely. It isn't the ground you stand on, but the community you stand with. It is a shared spirit of ingenuity, a culture woven together just as tightly as the reeds that hold them afloat. Their foundation isn't soil or rock, it's an idea, and that is a foundation that can never sink. But this incredible world, woven from a single plant, is more fragile than it seems. It exists in a delicate balance, a balance between the ancient ways and a rapidly changing world knocking at their door. That new world arrives every day. It comes on tourist boats. This connection to the outside brings both opportunity and challenges. Visitors bring money, which helps families buy things they can't make from reeds, like medicine or tools. But it also puts pressure on their traditional way of life. The performance of culture can sometimes replace the practice of it. A careful line must be walked. Imagine stepping off a motorboat and onto one of these islands. The ground beneath you is soft. It's springy, like a mattress made of straw. The air smells fresh, clean, and earthy. You are welcomed into a home made entirely of reeds by people whose ancestors chose this life of freedom on the water centuries ago. It's an experience that changes how you see the world. But this raises a difficult question. What happens to the next generation? When children can see the modern world on the mainland, just a short boat ride away, will they choose to continue this life of constant demanding work? Will they keep weaving their world together, layer by layer? The truth is, many don't. Young Uros people now travel to the mainland for school. They learn to read and write. They use the internet and see a life beyond the lake. This education gives them new opportunities. It also pulls them away from the traditions that have kept their culture alive for so long. Yet, the Uros people have always been masters of adaptation. Their survival has never been about freezing their culture in time. It's about bending without breaking. Today, you might see a traditional reed house with a solar panel on its roof, powering a small television or a radio. They are not just preserving the past, they are actively inventing their future. They blend the old with the new. They use modern fishing nets alongside their traditional techniques. They navigate with GPS on their phones while gliding across the water in boats their great-grandfathers would recognize. This is not a contradiction, it is survival. Now, zoom out from the islands themselves. Look at the entire lake. The future of the Uros is tied directly to the health of Lake Titicaca. The totora reeds they depend on for everything are sensitive. Pollution from growing cities on the shore threatens the water quality. The very foundation of their world could be poisoned. Their struggle is a mirror of a challenge faced by unique cultures all over our planet. How do you hold on to who you are in a world that pushes everyone to be the same? How do you share your home without losing it? The Uros don't just live on the lake, they are its guardians. And so, these floating islands are more than just a clever way to live, they are a powerful idea. They prove that a home isn't just a place you find, but a place you can create. A living, breathing testament to human ingenuity. A community that literally rebuilt its world every single day, floating peacefully on the highest large lake on Earth.